As I recently got back to YouTube, there was a lot of videos being taken down related to coronavirus topic. And I didn't speak on behalf as from a medical point of view or stating that I'm against it. I was trying to analyze in the way that how is this going to happen in Australia where I live. But I was surprised that the video's been taken down from my channel. And I guess now I want to revisit and discuss about it. But it's more of, I won't talk about what I said in the past, because we already know what's the outcome already. And it's, everyone can predict that as well. So I want to use a different word phase, so I don't think the YouTube algorithm will pick it up. So instead of lockdown, I'll say locked up. And if I say coronavirus, I'll say dynasty, because I think that's the way that I need to rephrase it. So we'll see how YouTube will react. Okay, so you got a locked up dynasty that every single government around the world has used a different method on handle the situation, to handle the problem. And the reason why I use that word locked up dynasty is because, as I mentioned before, but the actual meaning for me to even elaborate it is that what is the consequence of the outcome post locked up dynasty, right? Because we're still in it at the moment. It still hasn't ended yet. And unfortunately right now Australia is getting a lot higher. I think it's really within the top 10 in the world at the moment. The state that I live in is Melbourne. Sorry, Victoria. Shit, why am I saying that state? It's such early in the morning. 6:45 in the morning. But it is the outcome that how many of the government has implemented the law, restriction, and how many of them has suffered suicide, mental health, and many of the companies has collapsed, folded within our eyes, that they did nothing wrong. They were forced to be shut, and businesses, and as well not having any migrants coming into Australia or around the world, which a shortage of lack of migrants. It's the outcome that is going to determine of right now and the future of what's it going to be like. It can be a shortfall, it can be a long term. Who would have thought that Australia, even though we are a farming country, yet we're still having a most ridiculous prices on our food right now at the moment. Yeah, I know people will say, yeah, most of our food is being demolished and washed away by the floods, in Queensland and New South Wales. I'm still not buying to it. You got hydroponic, you got like controlled environment on this type of stuff, and we knew that this natural disaster up in the Queensland and northern New South Wales, it's been there. It's not like it's the first time. Okay, fair enough. It's the main supply chain, they all shifted there. But look at now what has causes. This locked up dynasty has created all sorts of unimaginable things has arisen before the lockdown, right, era for the last 2 years. Who would have thought a car that you have to buy, you gotta wait for a minimum 1 year to receive your brand new car? Not a 2023 model, yet it's a 2022 model. Who would have thought like that, right? Everywhere I go for the businesses, right in front of their shop wanting workers, and I literally predicted that before the locked up dynasty, they have an AT. Alright? And after the locked up, people will have to go scattered and have to find a job or a job keeper and rely on the money, a job seeker, to keep up. And it's like a form of like a welfare, and dump them down Netflix and having Uber Eats, depressed and X, Y, and Z. And I don't blame these people, but the locked up government, what they did and the outcome is horrendous especially for the business, as you see the inflation, what has caused that business is not as running as usual, where they have large wholesale supply to the restaurants or etc. Same with the building industry as well. They have a huge supply to go to commercial, where or everything is on a halt on a residential. Company cannot survive. They're like backlogging maybe 6 or 8 or 9 months till now for rent, because at the end of the day, banks is not going to stop you. The only thing is going to put the pause button is for those who has a house, a mortgage. We have a mortgage holiday for it. So besides with the people, it was great for the people, but it wasn't good for the business. But if we look at around the world, I haven't looked at it, like, to be honest, but with the locked up dynasty, the way how it's going to run, many people who suffered in a different way lose their job and everything. Lucky we in Australia, we should be grateful for what we had. I was a bit gutted when Scott Morrison has been knocked out, but I know it's a political topic, right? But would Labor would do the same thing, or would they do a lot worse? I reckon he did it really well within our locked up during the thing. But Daniel Andrews was going great. It was one of severe. Everyone around the world was laughing at us. They're having the most severe lockdown. It's like in comparison with China. Is it the way how it is? With the lockdown and the locked up. With the locked up dynasty has determined how the country, the city will be like. We have a massive shortage. We're very lucky that our government is giving money, right? A welfare check every single week and month. How many of them are still recovered, are getting a job? Many of them who has upskilled, or who has downskilled, who has downsized, who has domestic violence and things like that. Until today, I'm still surprised that we're not even in a recession or housing crash. I don't know how does this whole work. We've been locked down for bloody 2 years, especially in Victoria. I don't understand why are we locked out, to be honest. I'm pretty sure the unemployment rate is very, very high. Alright? And I know the fact that, with the ABS, if you work either 6 hours within 6 months or 3 months, you're classified as employed. If we got rid of that rule, it's be finished by now. So government is trying their best to do what's best for the country, but at the same time, is it a good outcome what Victoria did? Now research has shown that it's actually a lot worse for Australia of all that severe lockdown, because we do not have the immunity from the first COVID and the second COVID and the third COVID. I'm only talking about the wave and the strain. And Australians only cop the Delta and also the Omicron. We get the lighter one. But I never know until the long term. And maybe next 10 years we'll have to revisit this topic, because we don't know what's the consequence with the coronavirus and as well with the vaccine. What is the outcome, the impact, the long term? I'm pretty sure a lot of conspiracy theory has claiming that is going to be a negative effect, is a way of depopulation, or people may say that we already got microchipped. Alright, so you have all this topic around here, but what I'm trying to say in this video is that the locked up dynasty has determined what's the economy and the outcome of the society of the country they're in, whether good or bad. Because I feel like it's an illusion right now that I'm in Australia, that the economy is like this. I feel so illusion. I believe that it's less than 20 or 30% office work, office white collars are not returning back to the office in the CBD or in the city. So many of the office should be like, you know, a zombie apocalypse. What's the difference between with what's the Chinese one? Ghost town. So are we in another ghost town already? Like, you know, many cities are like that. So it's all determined. People are shifted out to have a bigger, larger lifestyle, shift away from the living from the city area or closer to the city and closely moving to out. That's a huge migrant wave have shifted out to the country or rethink. So are these people are going to go back? Is this working from home? Is the way going to be? I think the only celebrity that I know that first wear a mask was probably Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson even said it on his old videos, which I've recently looked back and stated that he fears of getting a germ or something attempt to sabotage his upcoming career or attempt of assassination. Who would have thought that it's like, you know, anything could happen, like what they did with the Kim Jong-un brother. And it's amazing how we looked at it and think, was it cool for Michael Jackson to do that? And now we're at the stage that we don't care if we wear a mask or not nowadays. We just don't care. If we get COVID, we get COVID. By the way, I got COVID when there was a peak in January this year. But now the people are like that. We're still getting high cases every day, and we moved on, we lived on. But the last 2 years, it wasn't like that in Victoria, Australia. We were locked down. We were literally locked down during the lockup. And it's like, you serve your time being locked up in your house, and you're unable to go out within 5 kilometers. I was very fortunate enough that I live in the area that 5 kilometers I live within the Costco region. Kmart and Target was out of reach, and I'm so glad that during that time it was able for me to have what's that word, to have my self-care, a little bit of normality. Yeah, that's the word for it. But it's just that we're looking at it now, and we look at the dynasty of every single country out there and how it impacts with the retail. And now, who would have thought that bringing a shipping container? Now, I know my mate who's a sock wholesaler, and he's been telling me it costs more than 10 grand USD to bring a full, I don't know, you guys call it the half container or the full container of the cargo to bring to Australia. It's ridiculous. How is he going to make money? So this is the reason why I said there's no point making small business, because you have a shipping container if you're coming from China or whatever the country it is. It's already cost you an arm and a leg. How much profit can you make out of it? So that was one of my previous videos that that's been taken down. I've discussed about how many of these small business, this has become like a Hunger Game mentality. Who wins or who lose? And it is what it is. The big fish will always get the profit. Like in the big companies, multi corporation, they always will get them. You know, they always find ways. They know the cheapest of the cheapest way. But small business in the future is finished already. They have to jack up the inflation price, unless if the people can accept that new inflation price, or else they'll go to Kmart and they buy the cheapest of the cheapest. So it has gone through that dynasty, has gone through that level, that yet till today we cannot solve the shipping, the cargo. Like, it has shown the weak spot of the globalization. Yes, we rely around the world to be what it is today, but we can see the weakness. Many of the countries during the locked up, they were thinking of shifting the manufacture hub or certain area back to their country to make it their own. Is it going to work out? So when I'm looking at it, so there's a whole big movement like that. Like I said, that's why I said I was very, very surprised with the Australian election where Labor has won. And I guess that people could sense the fact that we're in a shit position, that basically we need more government support. And obviously everyone knows that Labor will always support the people. And I believe that's the main reason why. But if you look at Liberal, what they did a pretty good job. Even though this dynasty, it's happened once in 100 years, right? And that is something that the government wasn't prepared for, and they had to do whatever had to do. What they listened to the experts. What was that organization called? WHO organization, or the medical profession, or X, Y, and Z. So they were using all that, but I guess what I could say is the fact that of the amount of large unemployment, or those many of the, you know, the business, small business or business unable to find workers, as we already entered the AI revolution already. All right, this locked up dynasty has opened up this AI even further. Nobody has used the bloody QR code before the locked up, unless if you use maybe like Afterpay or something like that, or coupon as well. But who would have thought that we have speed up, we have dropped everything? But we've seen many businesses are using kiosks, self-serve kiosks, or scan the QR code on the table and you have your food delivered to you. Minimum wage is going up, so it's going to be more appealing to have it's more appealing to have a robot to serve you. So yeah, that's the video. I just arrived at work. It's 7:01. I know I missed a lot on this topic. I know I've rambled a lot on the side, but I just want to bring out that side of it, and I feel good when I discussed that side about it. So yeah.